Our next process is manage project knowledge, or in short as I call it as MPK. Now this process of manage project knowledge is primarily doing what? We are doing knowledge management for the project. So that is what is fundamentally happening in this process. And this process mainly does three things. In this process, we use the existing knowledge to achieve the objectives of the project. We can also create new knowledge to achieve the objectives of the project, because as the project is executed, new knowledge can be created, or you can use the old knowledge or existing knowledge. And the third primary thing that you are doing here is contribute to organizational learning. So these three things are done in the process of MPK. Now project knowledge management is concerned about managing both explicit knowledge as well as tacit knowledge. So what is explicit knowledge? Explicit knowledge is a knowledge which is easily codifiable or documentable. For example, the lesson learned register, or you have a portal, or even the project management information system. Another kind of knowledge is tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is not so easily codifiable, not so easily documentable. Why? It is residing in the head of your team members or stakeholders. So tacit knowledge, for example, experience, understanding on the topic, which is not so easily codifiable. In fact, both knowledge, explicit knowledge as well as tacit knowledge, are managed in the process of MPK. And both explicit and tacit knowledge, the most important thing is to create an environment of trust so that people share their knowledge. So people can share their knowledge only when you as a project manager create an environment of trust. Even the best tools and technique or the best practices that you are following with respect to maybe the systems that you have purchased are going to be ineffective if people don't trust the environment, because they believe if you share the information, then they will be acted upon. They might be penalized. So in that kind of an environment, people do not feel encouraged to share information. So the number one job for you as a project manager, especially with respect to knowledge management, is to create a safe environment, an environment of trust where people feel encouraged to share knowledge. Now knowledge management also includes knowledge sharing and knowledge integration. Knowledge also has to be integrated, and that is why managed project knowledge is in part of the integration management knowledge area. Now related to that, I have a tip for you, which is telling you the lessons learned register is first created in the process of MPK. This document will be updated throughout the life cycle of the project. So in this process of MPK, LLR or the lesson learned register will be first time created, and it is a project document, and this will be updated throughout the life cycle of the project. Next is explicit knowledge versus tacit knowledge. I just spoke about knowledge management is about both explicit as well as tacit knowledge. So in one column I have explicit knowledge, in another column I have tacit knowledge in this table. So first, explicit knowledge, knowledge that can be readily codified using words, pictures, notations, number or learning management systems. You can easily codify. Whereas tacit knowledge is knowledge that is difficult to express, such as beliefs, insight, understanding, experience, know-how. Explicit knowledge, it is also known as codified knowledge or documented knowledge. This knowledge, on the other hand, that is tacit knowledge, this is personal. The person holds the knowledge inside his or her head. Now, explicit knowledge lacks context and open to interpretation. It is documentable or it is readily codifiable, but it lacks context. In which context it can be used, it doesn't have it, and it is open to interpretation. However, tacit knowledge has the context but difficult to codify. Another difference is explicit knowledge can be easily shared, whereas tacit knowledge can't be easily shared. Now, explicit knowledge involves communication tools, technologies, documentation such as library services, the project management information system. On the other hand, tacit knowledge resides inside the head of the person. To make it happen, you need to have a safe and trusted environment, as I said just some time earlier. It involves conversations and interactions. Typically, you use information management as a tool and technique to manage explicit knowledge, whereas typically you use knowledge management as a tool and technique to manage the tacit knowledge. So both explicit knowledge as well as tacit knowledge will be managed, shared as well as integrated with the help of managed project knowledge, or the process of MPK in integration management knowledge area.